I have a connection now with Pär Larshans from Ragn-Sells, Sweden. This topic is about circular economy. And this is a different perspective of looking at the economy and economics. And Pär Larshans has some really good practical example how this works. He will soon present himself a bit more, so you get to know him. Hey, welcome to Nordic Future Days, Pär Larshans.
Thank you. Great to be here, even if I would have loved to be in person.
Yes, tell us something about yourself in case someone doesn't know you that well.
I have been working with sustainability for approximately 20 years. And my background is in economics, but also I've been working as human relation manager for more than 10 years. And I quit my interest of working with engineering and economics that I started up because I understood that the human perspective, the people's perspective are the most important. So I'm glad to be here and share the insights that my company Ragn-Sells, but also my own insights, but I've been working with this for more than 20 years.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, the audience are ready, so I will fix the slides here, so just tell me when you want a new picture. I have the first picture up, so you may start, Pär. Welcome.
Perfect. I think we kickstart with the first picture now. And this is the picture from 1881 when Ragn-Sells as a company was founded. We were founded in Stockholm, and it was Amadeus Zacharias Sellberg that brought goods into the city from his farm, and then he brought waste back to the land again. And that was the old way of getting rid of garbage. But if it's changed to the next picture, today we doesn't treat garbage anymore. The focus in what we are doing is trying to recycle. So now it's turned to be resources instead of garbage, so resources instead of waste. The thing is that we deal with more than 800 different kind of materials. And I believe in many areas we are on the forefront when it comes to recycling, both when it comes to new techniques, but we have one big problem that we believe that very much of the society are still thinking, acting in a linear way, a linear perspective. So if we switch to the next picture, and we do have the facts, we know what is happening, we know that we need some kind of paradigm shift, but still we doesn't act. We have, of course, an inconvenient truth. We have the 9 planetary boundaries that tells us how far we are from extinction as humans. At the same time, we see that we doesn't really use human capital in the best way. People are not working with what they should work with, or work with what they have as a capacity. So both resources and humans are treated as in a linear perspective. Take, make, and dispose. So my question to you all is, what will make us to act? What will make us to take next step? And if I switch to the next picture, we'll have 3 charts, 3 different kind of ways of looking on trends or risks. And if I will go all the way back to the 1960s, 1970s, the economical dogma that then ruled the world was Friedman's dogma of maximizing profit in the short-term perspective in order to survive in the long-term perspective. We know that business of business is not just business. We need to take in consideration both the social dimension, the environmental dimension, but also what has been more and more important, the ethical dimensions over the year. And we see, and this is a chart that I have stolen from a lawyer that has made understand what kind of different kind of problems, legal problems, had turned up in different kind of companies over the years. And nowadays he sees that it's the ethical perspective that is the dominating. It's the ethical perspective that really is the big challenge. And I have one very good example of that, and that is, of course, from being top ranked in the world when they did a fraud when it comes to how much the diesel engines were emitting to the climate. Of course, we have Volkswagen that was brought down from the Dow Jones Sustainability top chart, and I guess that they have lost something like 10, maybe 20 billion US dollars because of this. And I don't think really we know the outcome of it. And what I've learned from this is that the world are getting more and more transparent. And when the world are getting more and more transparent, suddenly companies, organizations, societies that are forerunners also becomes to have a possibility. We can benefit from addressing societal problems, contributing with solutions. And if that solution both solve your problem as well as the society's problem, as well as an individual's problem, others will start to talk highly about you. You will start to create ambassadorships. So if we turn to the next slide, and I will now start to introduce my secret formula. You will have a slide with a man holding up a V sign, but you can't see who that is. And of course, many of you know who it is. It's of course Sir Winston Churchill. So if we go to the next picture, we'll see him in full picture. And he was truly a genius. He was a very, very smart man. He received the Nobel Prize in Literature. At the same time, he also had the disease. So if you click twice, you will have first a bubble, and then you will have his disorder. He was suffering from a bipolar disease. Nowadays, is it even possible to hire a person with bipolar disease? Would you even have the possibility to have a job? Or a smart company would maybe say, it's good that we mix people with different kind of backgrounds, with different kind of obstacles. And if we do that, we might also create new ideas. If we can create that environment. So take the next slide. You will have the V sign just drawn on a paper. And I heard about Sir Winston Churchill's life for more than 10 years ago, and then I drew this V sign in front of me. And this for me symbolizes the social dimension of the challenges that we are facing. If you go to the next slide, we have more facts about it. We know that demographics are changing, and it's changing pretty rapidly all over the world, in matter of fact, meaning that we are getting a much older population. At the same time, we are not having that many children being brought to the world anymore. And that means that the working capital, the people that are able to work, are getting less and less. And if I'm a company, of course, and if I understand that this is happening, either I need to go fully into robotics, or I need to find other ways to hire people, other ways to organize myself. So the big question mark is, are the resources that are not been able to have a job today? So if you go to the next slide, what we do have, we have resources in society that are not being able to have a proper job normally. It's both people with disabilities as well as immigrant resources. If I'm an exporting company, of course, it would be very good for me to understand who I'm talking to. It would be very good for me to understand the culture where I'm going to sell to. So therefore, if I will be a very smart company, I would like to find the best people with the people that comes from other countries now and try to hire them in my company. Maybe train them together with the society. Society will maybe assist in some ways. But the idea behind it, of course, to find the resources, the real good people. At the same time, we know that the most effective organizations, the most effective companies, they have one thing in common. They have very strict order. They are very good in routines and structure. And so the question is, what can a person with different kind of disabilities help to create order? Well, we know that people with Asperger's syndrome, as well as people with ADHD, they have the same need for structure. So if you hire a person with disabilities, with ADHD or Asperger's syndrome, then you need to create an organization with high structure. So you will both welcome them; they will be more welcome to your workplace. At the same time, as you will create a very effective organization. So there will be a double win. And of course, we know that many of the entrepreneurs, I don't know exactly the percentage, but many of them, they have some kind of possibility. Maybe they are suffering from ADHD, so they're high with energy, what they like to do. At the same time, we know that many high educated researchers, many of the Nobel Prize laureates, they have slightly dimensions of Asperger's syndrome. And so maybe if you as a company could find a way to hire them, maybe you will create the new inventions for the future. But how to do it? Then go to the next slide. And the key person to do this, the key person to make it possible is the line manager. The line manager is everything. If he doesn't have the line manager on board, if he doesn't have her or he that understands what we're trying to do, or if they don't understand how we are contributing to a better society, this won't be done. But next slide. Then we have, of course, the importance of having really the strategic perspective. They understand that this is happening. And if they can enforce, if they can promote good actions from the linear level, if they can highlight best practice within the organization and promote especially persons that hire people with different kind of disabilities, then we will start to change the culture in the company. Then we will start to create a movement. And one very important thing for the future, to be successful in the future, would be to create collaboration. So collaboration is the key factor. Going for the next slide, we have now a slide in Swedish, and this is from a newspaper last week that communicates about how Ragn-Sells as a company, we are changing the way that we communicate internally, so it will be better for people with dyslexia to be able to understand the message that we have as a company. Or the other part of the article is the interview where we talk about the importance of collaboration. And if we can find partners that have the same core values as we, then we will be able to also increase trust. And if we have trust between us, we will be able to also create new business that doesn't need that much of securement. So we can maybe focusing on taking the correct concrete actions instead. So the question mark, how to do it then? And then goes for the next slide. Now we have talked about the victory formula in a standing up perspective and also as an organizational perspective. Now we'll talk about the communication perspective. And in this symbol, we have not a V, we have a megaphone in this case. And this demonstrates the world, how it's getting more and more transparent all over the time. And there are three things we need to focusing on if we want to create an understanding of what we're doing. First, it's about education. We need to educate internally. We need to have line managers with high self-awareness and good self-esteem, but also, of course, have the knowledge what it does mean to have a bipolar disease or what it means to have ADHD or Asperger's syndrome, because they are the key persons for us to create a sustainable organization. It's the line manager that are the key person. But when we have that on board, if you click once, then we come to the next level of creating movement. And that is, of course, addressing societal problems. I call that soft lobbying. And that means that we look for problems, challenges in society, where we as a company or organization can contribute, meaning that we can then share our knowledge freely. And if we can contribute with a solution on the societal problem that also helps an individual's problem, we will have others that talks about your organization, others that talks about your company. You will then create ambassadorships. And that, I believe, is the key for the future. In the next slide, I have added 2 pictures of our leadership program that we use in order to create sustainable organizations out of a leadership perspective. And that is really the starting point. In English, our model is named radical collaboration. In Swedish, is förtroendefullt samarbete. So collaboration, high self-awareness is a key factor. When I started to talk, I talked about environment. And yes, environment is the next perspective. So if we go to the next picture, then we have the resource funnel, the V, the victorious sign standing on the left-hand side, meaning that we know that resources in society are declining at the same time as our GDP, our growth is dependent on GDP growth. So if you click twice, you will have the complete picture of the formula. So the question mark is how to do it, how to combine the social dimension with the environmental dimension, how to then contribute with solutions. And then we click to the next picture and we come with a lorry, the name of Älskade stad of that lorry. And this is a new way, a new business model that has been introduced in Stockholm, and we had the big opening last week. And it's a collaboration between Vasakronan, as one of the Swedish largest owner of facilities. Then it's Bring as a transport company. Then it's the Stockholm City. And then, of course, Ragn-Sells as a fourth partner. We are the one that transports the goods, the final destination, from a hub all the way to the customer. But then we bring back the leftovers, the waste as you see it, or the resource as we see it. And one other partner that we also collaborate in this is Samhall, that way we hire people with different disabilities from. So with this lorry, Älskade stad, now we're closing the gap between the fossil economy and the circular economy. And going to the next slide. And it symbolizes by this wheel that are turning. I've been working with sustainability for more than 20 years. And my knowledge, my understanding is that if we challenge societal problems, not by trying to hide from them, but trying to be transparent, we will be able to succeed. And we will be able to both change the way we do our business, but also be more profitable at the same time as a society are benefiting from it. And I will demonstrate now by showing a video clip from the European Parliament, where Sir Paul McCartney in 2009 addressed the parliamentarians. And this was about carbon labeling that my previous job we launched to label burgers in order so they will be able to change the mindset. So click once and the video will start, hopefully.
Let's see. No.
Okay, there's no video. Then we'll skip that one. But the amazing thing was that what I was talking about in this show, in this presentation, was about ambassadorships. Is it possible to have a 100% vegan person to talk highly about burgers on a global level? Yes, it is possible. And in this short speech that you were not able to hear now or see now, we had Sir Paul McCartney that highlighted this burger carbon labeling. Maybe not that they should buy the burger, but maybe they should have a second thought. The success has made a change in how you live on burgers today in Sweden. you nowadays can buy a lot of vegetarian products that have, of course, decreased the carbon impact, but increased the value for the customer and the value for the company. So both good for the society as well as it's good for the company, as well as it's very, very good for the individual. But going to the next slide, I would like to forecast a little bit about the future and what I believe is the most important. And if you now click once, you should have this SDGs in front of you. So what I see is a game changer now is the Agenda 2030 or the SDGs. They will transform the legislation on a global level. They will change the way how we see on working in a linear way, I hope, because they are independent. They are not independent. They are dependent on each other. So all goals are really connected. But the most important goal, or the goal that has most connection to other goals, are the 12th one, and that is production and consumption. So consumption and production, especially focusing on cities. And here we now come to the one of the final slides. And now, if you click once, you will have what we nowadays are focusing on. What we see is that we have a strong urbanization. People are moving into the cities and in a very, very quick pace. What is happening is that we have waste from society with 2.5 tons per capita per year, and this is the Swedish average. But if you click another time, you will see how much resources we need to use in order to produce this amount of waste. And my question to you is, what do you believe is where the carbon emissions are? Where do you believe that we have the environmental problems? Is it in the waste or is it in the resource production? So what I strive for is to change the way how we think, not focusing on the waste to get rid of it, but focusing on how can we circulate as much as possible. How can we detox at the same time as we loop back resources? So we don't need to use natural resources to the extent that we are now doing it. So then is the question, how to do it? I would like to end with just giving you one simple principle, and this is the Circular Cities Agenda. So going to the next slide. Here we have 3 principles, and if you strive towards those 3 principles, you know that your solution will be circular, not linear. You know that you are on the right track. You know that you won't suffer from problems in the future when it comes to legislation. The first one, how can I take away toxin from the eco loop? How can I detox? We know that 150 years of industrialization has put a lot of toxin out in the eco loop. So the first perspective, take away toxin. The other one is to avoid using natural resources, using recycled material, but especially don't dig up things from under the ground, extremely important. The third perspective, when you create solutions, be very aware that you don't put the death to future generations. We need to take responsibility here and now. And if your solution, your business, can answer yes to all those 3, then you know that we are home safe. Then we can continue to move into the cities without fear. We won't disturb the planet. We will be able to live on this planet and use the resource in a wise way. In a more detailed way, if you now click to the next picture, this is the way how Ragn-Sells demonstrates the circular agenda, where our future technique focusing on the biosphere, the left-hand side. It's here where we produce food for the future. And we know that up to 2050, we need to produce 50% 50% more proteins than we are doing today, but we have just 5% more land space that we can agriculture on. So we have a really big challenge here. At the same time, most of the land that we are growing on, the best land, are situated very close to the big cities that are growing. So we need to change how we consume. We need to change the way how we think, especially we need to change the way we act. By that, I will thank you for this online speech, and I would love to see in the future thinking about circular way and using human potential in a maximum way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pär. That was really interesting, even though it would be nice if you were here so we could hug you. We have been talking about love today, but I also feel that what you talked about, core values and all the sustainability, of course, is perfectly in line with the previous keynote speakers today. You mentioned this about core values. What are these core values?
The core values is, of course, need to be aligned with what the society, how the society develops. But the core values of a company originates back from normally when the company was started. That is the case with Ragn-Sells. And if you understand, if you see that your company are not really, your core values doesn't align with the global agenda, you need to rethink. Because if the core values are going against the global agenda, you will probably face a problem in the future. Maybe you will be able not to survive is maybe the wrong, but you'll be heavily attacked. So the core values and the value-based leadership is everything in the future. It has not been that important for maybe 20 or 30 years, but nowadays, and especially in the future, it's critical. We see that in how we hire people. You can hire a person from attitude, but the only way to keep them to stay is to have them to understand and love your core values. Especially the young generation of today, they're focusing really on companies that are contributing to society. So all companies need to understand how their business model contributes to society. If it doesn't, then you will end up in problems.
Ragn-Sells is a company that focuses on the waste products, but you say that you want to change the whole system in a way, in what the way we consume and how we produce the things that we consume. How can Ragn-Sells influence or challenge people when it comes to the consuming and producing matters?
Well, I have a quote from Ragnar Selber, the founder of Ragn-Sells. And that was also on my first slide, really. I didn't talk about that. Where others see an end, we see a beginning. So even if others might see it as a waste, we see it definitely as a resource. We also see when we have more tough materials that are coming in. We work within all sector except the nuclear industry. We doesn't do anything within nuclear. But so we have both high toxic material at the same time as we have very low toxic materials. But for us, it's very, very important to transfer that back into the ecolope again. So therefore, we doesn't work with waste, to be honest. We work with resources. And the mind shift needs to be in society to create not just understanding, but also to create the policies in the future so they are aligned with the circular agenda. Next week, I will be able to talk more about that because I will go to Berlin to the ministerial meeting about the green economy. And we'll share our knowledge about how the SDGs and the Paris Agreement can be transferred into practice. And so some 350 people from all over the world are gathering together with UN to discuss how to make it in practice. And Ragn-Sells' way of working has been nominated to be one of the few being able to present there also. So looking forward to next week. I will come back and talk more about the insights if you're interested.
You also mentioned the educational system, and you were talking about the business and the company, how to educate your employees. And you talked about the importance of including everyone, different nationalities, depending on disabilities and so on. But do you feel that our school educational system actually tells our students that no matter what your sort of background or disabilities, you are wanted, you're wanted out there on the market as employed or as your own company owner, perhaps? Do you feel that we have the accurate educational system to actually give you the right workers, basically?
I don't think we are there yet, because we are still in the old way of thinking that we should educate people, give them knowledge instead of giving them a possibility to have a job. So the job focus need to be more a priority. At the same time, we need to understand and give a more clear message what are each person's capacity. So that will really be a key message for the future. How can we maximize and use person's capacity in the best way? And so everybody can't be a doctor, everybody can't be a lawyer, everybody can't be a bus driver. But if we can find the right person with the right capacity for the right job, then we will have a better society. And there's a long way to go. And even if maybe in Sweden we are maybe better off than many other companies, we also have you can call it, we have a way of trying to take care of people instead of having them to be maximize their potential. And this is what we see, especially when the education system for people with different kind of disabilities. They are not really focusing on job. They are more focusing on training people for doing things, not for proper jobs. That I agree on.
One more question from me. You talked about the linear economy and that many companies, and we still think like in the linear economy kind of mindset, but you say the way to success is actually the circular economy. How could we, the ones are meeting here today at the Nordic Future Days, co-create to actually create more of circular economy around us?
What we need to do is a combination of policy change. At the same time, we also need to consume in another way. And I think that each and every person can ask when they buy things the next time, how much recycled material are there in this product? How much recycled copper are there? If we can create a market where recycled material are requested for, then we will, without really different kind of policies, start to create a new circular agenda. But if we don't request recycled material, then we need to have policies to force us to do it. And I have always believed that voluntary actions are more important than laws. But maybe a combination is the best. So go out and ask next time you buy anything, how much recycled material are there in this product?
Thank you. I have a sidekick here. You can't see her, but do you have any questions for Pär or anything from Twitter or something they want to share? Nothing special? Okay, I think that's it. We have a bit difficulties with like microphones, so you can hear us. You can hear me, but it's not easy for you to hear the audience. But does anyone have a specific question that you would like to ask? No? Okay, then I want to thank you so much, Pär. Thank you for taking your time and sharing this really interesting work that you're in the middle of. And let's hope we can co-create with you more in the future as well.
Yes, without the flu, I would have been here in person also. So.
Yes, thank you so much and have a nice day.